Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to MLG Anaheim, the Spring Championship of StarCraft 2. We have Huck versus Naniwa Game 2 coming to you very shortly indeed.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of a painful first match for Huck. I mean, certainly losing Game 1 in a best of 3, never going to be a fun feeling, but it's the way that it ended up going out. That it was perfect defense from Naniwa in really kind of an unusual way. I mean, when you go for fast blink, ordinarily what you wind up seeing is the player is on the defensive, you're up in his main base a lot. You don't see this kind of attack where you're forced to try to engage the Immortals directly. You try to wind up going around the Immortals. Huck was only forced into this desperation position because Naniwa's early defense was so good. I mean, Naniwa did this all with just 2 gates. Almost always against a 4-gate blinking player, you need 3 gates to hold it off. It's just a real testament to Naniwa's preparation.
Do you feel that the addition of the Photon Overcharge into that fight made a huge difference?
Oh yeah, I mean, it goes without saying. The Photon Overcharge definitely tips a lot of edge in the favor of the player who's the defender. But if you look at the way that Huck set things up, it was brilliant. I mean, Huck moves in there with 3 gates worth of pressure, baits the Photon Overcharge almost immediately from Naniwa. But Naniwa thinking a little bit farther ahead, making sure that he had enough force fields to pick off those 3 Stalkers. And you don't want to be using your force fields to pick off Stalkers if they do have blink. Yeah. Naniwa knew that there was a window. Yeah, I can get just a little bit extra damage in there. Yeah. Very smoothly played.
And those 3 Stalkers really do make the difference in the mirror matchup. There's no real question about that. If he'd had those 3 Stalkers, maybe we would have seen a different outcome. As it stands, however, I've got Huck down 1 game in this best of 3 series already. And Huck has demonstrated some great PvP in the tournament so far, but he's looked a little shaky. His series against State, he showed some flashes of brilliance, and then he made a few moves that were just uncharacteristic, not the kind of control you would have expected from him.
Yeah, well, I mean, one thing that is really exciting to see about Huck's play is that he's able to exploit his big strengths and what he really likes doing, which is having a lot of Blink Stalker engagements, being very aggressive, using position to his advantage, splitting his army up. You used to never be able to split your army up in PvP, but we saw Naniwa, like you said, versus State, especially on Whirlwind, pull those really cool plays. I mean, like the Stalker, that's a unit that you don't really want more than 8 to 10 of in the mid-game. Yeah. You don't want to be maxed with a lot of Stalkers. That's like being maxed with a lot of Roaches against Protoss. You just get eaten up by other Colossus, other Archons, Speed Zealots, but Huck kept splitting everything up just magnificently. So looks like the countdown has begun. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be Naniwa versus Huck, Game 2.
Well, folks, it doesn't get much bigger than this when it comes to the map pool. And spawning both, in fact, down to the southern position. That was not the right map, but never mind. We'll go with it.
Down in the bottom left-hand position. One of the only 2-time champions of MLG. Can he go for a 3rd first-place medal today? From Team Evil Geniuses, it is Huck.
Versus his opponent to the southeast position, currently up 1 game in this best of 3 series. In the red trunks playing Protoss, Alliance Naniwa.
You know, in the formation of this map, the biggest thing to consider for the early game is how there's really no good avenues to blink up into the main base. I mean, like for instance, if you look at the natural expansion of Naniwa, the ramp is behind the planetary nexus. So that means that you can easily just kind of force field and hold the front. Blink Stalkers can't really get onto that ridge and hop up into the main base. So we see a lot of Stargate play as a result. We see a lot of DT expand plays. We see a lot of just 1-gate expand plays. Naniwa is known for his meticulous build preparation. Would not be surprised at all to see him again go for the early expand.
interesting that you would say, just talk about the build preparation for Naniwa, because outside of this tournament, he was saying before he even arrived here that he didn't even feel like coming. And the reason is, he said he was nowhere near prepared for it. Yet, from what we've seen so far in this tournament, it's clearly been anything but. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
And his decision-making in that last game was pretty much flawless.
Well, I mean, what's interesting is that, the only way that you get good at a game like StarCraft is by being self-critical, by being able to watch yourself play and go, there's a mistake, there's a mistake, there's a mistake, there's a mistake. And when you're in a complex matchup like PvP, where there's some really wide options, like DT versus Oracle versus Mass Blink, completely different responses to each of those. For each of those questions, you have to have a really specifically prepared answer. And even though he might have 100 great answers to 100 questions, he's aware of 50 that he doesn't. And that's very easy to make a player feel anxious. But should Huck do one of those 100 questions, Naniwa's going to have a huge surge of confidence.
Well, so Nexus down nice and early right here from Huck. I'd like to ask if you think there's anything you can read into that pylon that's shoved right up to the top of Naniwa's base there.
Well, this is a great place to do two things. One, hide tech, and two, just do spotting for not medevac drops, for warp prism drops, oracles, and even an invading mothership core. Because as we're seeing more and more in the PvP matchup, players cutting more corners in the early game are much more easily scoutable from the mothership core.
The Stargate is down there right now, so let's see what it decides to pull out there. An older school build, of course, would be Phoenixes, which work fairly well into the mid-game. You could do a lot of harassment with them. You gain an exceptional amount of map control, pick off units here and there.
Yeah.
Of course, every now and again we do see Oracle, although in that position it would be a little bit weird. So,
Naniwa's doing such a brilliant answer. He's going Zealot Stalker pressure while getting Oracle and the second gateway. But of course, in this position, Huck, we see a couple probes coming off. He's just going to force field, and he doesn't want to planetary. He actually wants to delay throwing down that force field for as long as possible. And there it is going down, so he will get the trap off. He doesn't want to lose too many probes, but he's definitely going to kill both of these units.
Yeah, he should be able to do that. The question is, how many probes did he lose in the process? We will find out. That Zealot is getting away. Not too bad. In 3 probes, that was a pretty damn good defense right there from Huck.
But if you're in Huck's shoes, you have to go, wait a minute. You just threw away 2 units. Why? And now you're pressuring with another Stalker? That is very weird, and it is all a distraction play to get this Oracle in, and I'm not sure that there's that much Huck can do about this. He's going to have to throw down the planetary in his main.
It's going to have to happen, otherwise he's about to lose a lot of probes. Here it goes, Oracle's right into the main mineral line and is already decimating it. Slow response time right there from Huck, already losing 4 probes. The planetary Nexus cannon is down. However, there's an Immortal at the front, so this attempted pressure at the natural has not worked. There is a second Oracle, however, coming across the map.
Oh, this is the real danger, is that Huck threw down the planetary in his main base. What does he do now? He has 2 gateways worth of units. Naniwa's just going to warp in 3 rounds of units and sweep in quickly with a pair of Oracles and bust the front down.
Just got to be careful. That sentry does not want to be at the front there. It will get picked off almost immediately by an Oracle, just like that. So the force field doesn't go down from there, and here comes the engagement. So few units here for Huck already. He's going to lose his Immortal to Oracle focus right there. There is so little left for Huck on the ground already here. The question is, can Naniwa actually do any more damage?
Just utter domination by Naniwa in this series, start to finish. The mothership core still needs another 25 energy to throw down the planetary.
It's not even going to survive. It's going down already.
Zealots versus Stalkers. Units lost tab tells the whole story. 2,000 to 650. Naniwa efficient, ruthless, ripping down Huck, who used the same build that Naniwa used in game 1.
Oh, Naniwa is obliterating Huck right now, and the answer to the question, can he do any more damage? Absolutely. There's nothing left from Huck to really hold on to that natural. He's got to sack that if he wants any chance of staying in the game. He must sack and put on a great defense at the natural ramp. Can he do it? It's going to be a tall order. Here it comes. Nice little split off. That's good. He takes down 1. He looks for a second one right here. This is about to get really intense in terms of the micro battle. Wants to finish off that Stalker. Is trying to even things up right now. He's bringing an Immortal onto the field once again. Will he be able to get out in time, though? Another Oracle on the way as well.
Naniwa is not messing around at all.
Nope.
He's continuing to morph in forward pylons. He's supply blocking Huck. Huck is oh my god, another Oracle in the main base with 12 kills. Huck, 23
devastating.
Workers killed.
GG. Naniwa tears through EG Huck 2-0 in 5 fashion. That did not look close.
Well, I mean, this, again, is where you see Naniwa truly shine. When he sits down, has prepared builds against almost everything. And on that map, you saw how carefully timed everything was to get that warp gate out so fast. And it's very unusual to push with a single Zealot and a single Stalker. But against what Naniwa saw, it's the perfect answer. Virtually, I mean, Huck could have done that build 100 times and may have had zero experience against that.
It was calculated, cold, and brutal, as he said. No mercy given or expected from either of these guys. But Naniwa tears on through, and of course, he will advance alongside an awful lot of Koreans in the winner's bracket. Huck, unfortunately, will be falling down to the loser's bracket, has a much harder road ahead of him.
Yep. Naniwa, many people have said he is the #1 foreigner at almost all the tournaments he enters. Second place at DreamHack, narrowly losing 2-3 in the finals. And now the 8 players to make it onto the final rounds of the winner's bracket have 7 Koreans and Naniwa.
Yeah. 7 Koreans and Naniwa. It's not exactly an uncommon sight, is it?
Uh-huh. Fact of the matter is that the lower bracket is going to soon be really a killing ground of
yes,
growth.
It will be.
Standard double elimination. All the players will be seeing for much of the rest of the day. In fact, are going to be non-stop eliminations, players dropping out. The next match on the main stage, though, is going to be upper bracket round 5. 2 very popular players, 2 very talented players, Jaedong and Deer, will be playing on the main stage.